driving through. Today we're driving through Connecticut. I'm on my way down to Florida to visit my grandfather in the hospital. He had a little bit of an accident while going roller skating, and he had some brain surgery this week. I saw some pictures of him. He has like a 8-inch scar on his head because they had to relieve some pressure, and he probably won't be able to drive for a couple of months after that. So today I'm going to visit him. He's down towards the end of the peninsula of Florida, and still on my clock it's saying I got 22 hours on the road left. Obviously I'm not going to drive all that at once. I'm going to stop tonight, just like I stopped last night. I'm coming from northern Ontario, Canada. Came back last night, stayed at my house in Maine, came back down, just visited my mom because who knows, I might stay down here for a while. Gave her some Christmas gifts and she didn't want to come along. That's okay. Just got the truck washed at the only car wash that will allow my truck through it, seemingly. I've tried so many automatic car washes and they always say, no, we're not letting you through. One time they charged me full price. They sent me through without anything moving because they're afraid their machine's gonna get stuck on a roof rack I have, and it's just ridiculous. But in Wilbraham, their one automatic car wash always lets me through, does an amazing job. It shines the tires, waxes everything, cleans everything in a matter of a minute or two. And I hate touchless car washes. They don't clean it. There's still marks on the edges of the windshield, still noticeably dirty when the car dries. I hate those things. It gets it done to a degree, but you actually have to be touching the vehicle to actually get it nice. What do you think of those gimmicks? I think it might be a gimmick. I'm not sure. I'm honestly gonna try buying it, I think. I keep seeing these short videos on YouTube where they, with a pressure washer, with a foam gun, spray down a vehicle or a heavy piece of equipment covered in mud, let it soak like 5 minutes, and they spray it off, and it looks perfect when it dries, supposedly. Who knows what they did in between editing, but if that product is good, that'd be a real game changer. And really cut down on the time of cleaning mud off my car, which I spend a couple hours a week when I'm heavily going off-road, just cleaning mud. Well, we're starting to get into some traffic. Gotta be careful around here. Every time I visit Massachusetts, it's almost a daily occurrence when you have a person almost hit you. A lot of bad drivers in Mass, Connecticut, southern New York, Jersey. So gotta keep my eyes peeled the next couple hours, especially this time of day. We're about to hit rush hour in about a half hour. At least we won't be near New York City. That should clear up a lot by the time we get down to that point. And today my goal is to get at least past Connecticut, southern New York, New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, Virginia, and what's the other one I'm thinking of? Delaware. All those areas I just mentioned have ordinances and or high crime, which prevents Walmart from letting you sleep overnight, because I got the truck set up like a camper in the back, and I just stay overnight, save a ton of money traveling. You know, don't have to go to hotels and stuff. If it's warm out, I'll take baths in rivers and stuff if I'm in the woods, or just go to truck stops. But yeah, those areas have crime and or ordinances which prevent overnight camping at Walmarts. Other than that, Walmart as a chain will allow you to stay overnight. Same with Sam's Clubs, certain Home Depots. But I usually go to Walmart because it's convenient. You can get something to eat for dinner when you park, get something for breakfast, use their restrooms. So very convenient having lots of Walmarts around on these travels. And the vehicle's set up for long distance. I shouldn't have to get gasoline until I'm from down near Georgia or something. Just filled up in Massachusetts. Gas prices have been dropping a ton, which is awesome. And I also realized in Canada, the other side of the border, their gas prices seem to be going up. Looking at the map briefly, I don't see any red on the map. Traffic's starting to pick up, but I don't see any standstills showing up yet on the map. I don't know if we'll have a nice sunset or not. Depends if we get to an area where the trees are open. Below Massachusetts, I don't know these areas very well. I've taken this highway many times to get down to places like Pennsylvania, which I frequent a couple times a year. But other than that, I've only been further south than Pennsylvania, I believe, twice. Went down 2 years ago, hurricane chasing, and went down last winter. Some videos of the Everglades and stuff, some abandoned building videos around Alabama. Maybe we'll go on a winter trip again in the dead of winter. It's nice and cold, keeps all the venomous creatures away. Been pretty good. I noticed that even in dense traffic up in Canada, the drivers are pretty courteous. They'll let you switch lanes if they see you got a blinker. Never had an issue even around the Toronto area with too many bad drivers. Never had a almost collision like I've had hundreds of times in Massachusetts when I used to live there. But these seem to be some of the worst states, and it's just because the traffic is dense, very impatient, people in a rush. That's what it seems to be. And we should get through all that. So I'll drive probably until midnight, get down south a good ways. But with 21 hours on the clock, I gotta drive until midnight, and then I should get up early and make it to Florida by tomorrow night. Definitely can't do it all in one go. I remember during COVID, my grandfather was able to get down to Florida from his house in 17 hours, amazingly, because there's no one on the roads. Traffic was moving fast. Officers were afraid to pull people over during that time, apparently. But today we've also been making good time. Right now, traffic is we're driving right at the speed limit, and the rest of the roadways up north, everyone was driving 15 over, so we made very good time up until this traffic, because we're developing rush hour. But maybe it'll start flowing above the speed limit again within an hour or so when that clears up. It's 4:30 exactly right now. Days are getting short. Days will be longer in the south. Near the equator, you got days that are almost even, 12 and 12 daylight, nighttime, all year round when you're near the equator. And then when you're up north in Canada, you get days that are 16, 18 hours. Then you get nights that are 16, 18 hours. It's more extreme. I've never been further north than those extremes, but if you drive further north, Alaska, they got complete darkness, complete daylight. That big of an extreme. But in the south, it's pretty even no matter what time of year. Florida's always hot, so I'm prepared to sleep in the vehicle down there. Got it set up like a bed. I got a little fan that runs off a USB charger. Temperatures shouldn't be too bad in Florida, at least this week. Temperatures are in the 80s. It's decent weather at night for sleeping. Personally, I sleep in the truck the best when temperatures are about 40, 50. Anything above 60 gets a little sweaty, worst I ever slept in the car was Florida last winter. It was not getting below 75 certain nights, and it was humid. Those were tough nights falling asleep. But I have a little USB box fan I bought off Temu. It makes white noise, which is nice. Blows around in the car off a regular power bank for a phone. Runs the night. Then I plug the power bank in, which trickle charges as I drive around. Now my vehicle is an older design. That's why I purposely bought it. It's more reliable, but when traffic is flowing fast with the dated engine and dated transmission, it doesn't like that. Like when I was driving earlier when traffic was flowing good around 80, yeah, gas mileage dropped down to like 16 mpg with good conditions as far as driving patiently and stuff. I can get about 21, but my vehicle seems to get the best mileage when you're at 50 or 60. Anything above 65, 70, it starts to eat gas a lot more than a newer vehicle that has like 10 gears in the newer transmissions. Makes it more efficient, but I didn't buy my vehicle for efficiency. Bought it because it's reliable and known to get to 400,000 miles without engine issues. Rather pay for more gas than have something unreliable as it ages. Whoa. Now we're starting to get that bad traffic with this whiplash. It speeds you up, then it slows you down. The map's not reflecting this yet. It should be showing orange on the map if it's stop and go. No, it should be showing red. Orange is slow. Yeah, this is not showing up on the map. Let me cancel out the map. Come on. Yeah, restart the map. Still not showing red. I don't know why. Maybe other people that are stuck in this aren't using Google Maps, which is what helps reflect that stuff. And I really like how Google updated part of their map. They finally did something that's an improvement for once. There's a little report button now. You click that and you can report. Let's see what it's got on there. You can report a crash, slow down. Oh, it can report the slowdown. And it's loading, saying adding slowdown to map. Slowdown added to map, it says. So if enough people do that, it'll start showing it. What else does it got that you can report? Construction, lane closure, stalled vehicle, object on the road, or speed trap. You can report all those. And I remember for years, people used to tell me that like flickering your headlight at oncoming traffic is against the law, because that means you're warning people that are speeding so they don't get a ticket by the cop hiding down the road. People used to tell me that was always illegal, but apparently it's not. I always questioned, how does Google tell you that when it was supposedly illegal if you do it yourself? Well, it's actually not either way. That's freedom of speech, the First Amendment, telling people that there's a cop down the road. Nothing illegal about it, although some angry cop could try to say you're interfering with their traffic stops. We're still not reflecting on the map. No one's reporting it yet. Don't know why. And I'm not sure 100%, but I think with Google Maps, it also is monitoring everyone's speed too. So I don't even think you actually have to report it. But I was saying, that's one thing good they did, because it used to be hard to report things, especially now it's like just one click. You don't keep your eyes off the road like the old complicated way you had to push a bunch of different things to report something. But there's still some glitches in Google Maps on all my devices that they never got rid of. Years ago, Google Maps was arguably a lot better. You could just say out loud, okay, Google, and it still started even though I left a gap in between my voice. But you say that, and you could ask it questions like, where am I? And it would tell me the closest address to my location. Now it always tells me the address where I started off. It's a glitch that they never fixed. You used to be able to ask it stuff like that. You used to be able to tell it out loud to go to certain places or add stops verbally. Now it oftentimes does not understand any of that stuff. Also, I use speech to text a lot because I answer a lot of comments in depth, and it used to understand my voice perfectly. It used to put punctuation in there perfectly. Now it adds random capital letters. It adds random periods. It messes up everything. It doesn't understand me like it used to since the recent updates. It used to be perfect. But now if I am writing out a paragraph, I have to proofread because it just doesn't understand. It used to understand perfectly. It used to get context. It would know which version of a word to put in the sentence. But now it doesn't. It doesn't even know that you're supposed to put the physical number instead of writing out the number. Like when you're writing something, like if you say 7, I believe the right way of English is you're supposed to spell out 7. But once you get into double-digit numbers, you would actually just put the number in there. But nope, Google no longer does that. Even a massive number you try to tell it, like 1,000 something, it spills out the whole thing, which is ridiculous how they messed it up. It used to be really nice, the speech to text. Now it's difficult to use. It's all my devices too that have. No, it's not all my devices. Guess which devices still work perfectly? The ones that stopped receiving updates. And I don't know how that affects it. Even older devices I thought would get Google updates. You just wouldn't get the updates from the phone manufacturer. But no, there's a lot of issues still with speech to text in the Google search engine. Also with the Samsung keyboard also has issues. Thinking about it right now, that might be it. I think on my older phones, the Samsung keyboard isn't getting updates, and that's why it runs perfectly. I don't think that has anything to do with Google, but when I'm using the search engine, it's definitely a Google issue now. So it's both their issues. So the older devices I have that don't receive updates anymore actually run perfectly because they still have all that old stuff in them. Yeah, we're gridlocked traffic basically now. Let's pause the map and restart it again. Restarting the map, still not showing red. I don't know
Head
why.
south on I-91 South.
Still not showing me anything. But if I zoom out and look at the entire map down to Florida, I see a bunch of things it's showing me. It's showing me railroad crossings, construction. I see a crash down in Atlanta. Looks like it's no, not out, like Georgia. A lot of construction. It looks like it's coming up as we go down in Jersey or Pennsylvania if I take that alternate route through Pennsylvania. The rural parts of Pennsylvania don't have a problem at all with you sleeping at Walmarts, but the stuff near Philadelphia does. Everything out east. And it's due to their ordinances and higher crime. Walmart either doesn't want to pardon that or they're not allowed to. Because in certain areas, being allowed to stay overnight creates issues if there's crime in the area. And some areas, I don't even know if I'm allowed to sleep in certain Walmarts, but no one even knows because it's not like I'm pulling a camper. I'm just sleeping in the back of the truck, and other than having out-of-state plates, there's no real proof that anyone's even sleeping in there unless the glass fogs up. glass usually will fog up in the colder weather a lot more than it does in the summer. But one thing is, typically if the Walmart has a security guard, you can't be there because there's a reason for that security guard. But then there's other areas where there's no security guard, and amazingly it seems like they allow you to stay over. There's a bunch of trucks in the parking lot, a bunch of campers, but yet you still see things at night going down. You still see activities going down in the parking lots at certain areas, especially Georgia and the Carolinas. If you stay at those Walmarts overnight, overall you'll see crime and suspicious activities in the parking lot all night. You'll see cops in and out of the parking lot all night for those reasons. And I'm sure people that are watching this can probably guess what is going on in those parking lots. You see a lot of that in the south. I've never actually seen that up north. Yeah, California also had those issues staying in there at Walmart parking lots, but California is the only place where people actually messed with me in Walmart parking lots. I was only in California, I think it was 5 days. Got messed with on 3 different occasions at Walmarts by the homeless, just trying to snatch things out of your car when you're moving things around, because you gotta move everything around to sleep in there properly. And California is the reason why I no longer keep my shoes under the truck at night. Now I gotta bring them inside. Someone didn't even steal them. Someone pulled them out, I guess didn't like rubber boots, threw up in them and put them back in there. What's this skyline I'm seeing? Is that Hartford? Hartford's also got a lot of crime, it seems. I remember going there years ago once because I wanted to go tunnel exploring. I heard about this massive tunnel. I actually have a video walking up to it. I don't even know what the video is called, but I was going to go exploring this tunnel as I've seen other people's videos exploring it. And so it's a tunnel that's big enough that a tractor trailer could fit through it, but it's for water. So apparently Hartford kept getting flooded, or got it flooded a couple times by this river. So they decided to put it completely underground, just bury it beneath the city. And going into it is a concrete canal that handles the water. Had a bunch of diagonal concrete at the bottom of it to slow down the water to prevent erosion. Here we go, no blinker guy. We saw a lot of these people today. That's common in these states. People that just move over, or you'll have someone hanging out in the fast lane that just isn't moving along. We had someone that was going 20 miles under the speed limit earlier today. Everyone had to go around this person. Everyone was honking at this person, just so inconsiderate. And that was back in Vermont today. But even if you are going the speed limit, you still can't be parked in the fast lane. You still got to move over for the people that want to speed. That's the law. You can't just be parked there. But anyways, about that tunnel down in Hartford, I was going to walk through it, but I remember there was a lot of people in the woods that were sleeping in tents. One of them told me that they pointed at the ground and said, "You cross this line, we have a problem. You stay on this side." And then there was a massive amount of needles all over the entrance of this tunnel, so I didn't go in there, especially not alone. But apparently there was a car in there in the middle of the tunnel that got stuck, that got flushed away, or somebody went ahead and dumped it in the canal and it got flushed in there. But for those reasons, we didn't go near that tunnel. That area was even scary parking in. I don't know if you can see the camera jiggling around. but I can really feel the aggressive tires on this going at the speed. It's like, it feels like a rumble strip when you go really slow. Oh, we're not showing traffic on the map yet, but it's showing a crash that looks like to be a couple thousand feet ahead. I wonder if we're all going to have to merge to one side or the other. We'll find out in a minute. It's showing a crash reported on here. Just based on what I'm seeing up ahead, it looks like everyone's going to have to move over to the left. Looks like the right is probably closed, but I'm just assuming. Too bad I'm alone. We could probably pass this whole blockage in the carpool lane to the left. It's been a pretty warm month of November, very dry, but thankfully in the end of summer it wasn't that hot, so the drought isn't really showing its effects because all the trees basically did their growing. Now they're in hibernation, but there's a bunch of brush fires popping up around New England, New Jersey, forest fires that aren't too common on this part of the country. Just been very dry, but it's been pretty warm for November standards. It's now 66 outside, and it's November. I feel like we should be getting ready for snow even here in Connecticut. I had 3 inches of snow at my house and melted the next day. That was the end of October. But even at my house, it's been warm. We've had room temperature days, which isn't normal. Hopefully I come back up here and it's cold enough to do some extreme camping. I got some camping gear in here with me. I have a one-man tent. I got my backpack. I have a, what do you call it? A new sleeping pad I've never used before. It's very compact and it supposedly inflates with a little foot pedal. Had good reviews, so I bought that. If I do camp this southern trip somewhere, that'll be good to have. Don't know if I will go camping or not. Who knows what I'll find down here. Maybe people in the comments can give me tips on interesting things for the next time we come down to the south. But if I can't find stuff, and plus, weather's still very warm down there. I don't really want to be going in abandoned buildings where there can be venomous snakes until it's been a bit colder out. Because the south still gets days below freezing. Not Florida, but it still happens, and that's the time I'd want to return in like January or February if it works out. Probably won't work out though. Most of my long distance trips don't work out. This trip's just on a whim to go see my grandpa. They said he was in critical shape a few days ago, but everyone thinks he's going to be fine now. But I'm still going to go down since he's not going to be able to drive for a little bit. Yeah, it was on that side after all. Good thing I didn't try to use that lane to the left. That was an exit. It wasn't the carpool lane. Alright, is the highway gonna open up now? Are we gonna start moving along? I see police lights over there. It's not even really a crash. Maybe a fender bender, but it's so little you don't even notice anything. You know what that entire traffic jam is because? People staring at it. It's not even blocking the highway, it's completely in the breakdown lane. It's just people staring at it, wondering, ooh, police lights, what's going on? There's absolutely nothing going on there. It's a fender bender or something like that. Didn't visually see any damage. Now, what lane do I gotta be in? I always get confused in the cities. Alright, looks like we're just staying straight right here. Days ago around Toronto, went down so many wrong exits in that dense traffic. Just made a lot of mistakes because I'm not used to the city driving. Used to the country where they notify you of the road or your turn like a mile in advance. And there's no traffic. If you do make an error, you can quickly correct it. Can't do that really in traffic if you're stuck all the way over in the traffic on the other side of the highway. The town I live in doesn't even have a traffic light. The neighboring town doesn't even have a traffic light. No one around. You gotta drive 40 minutes to a Walmart. I like living out like that. There was a house I was looking at the other day, which was absolutely amazing. Very affordable too, because no one wants to live out in the wilderness. There was a house for sale in the Maine Northwoods, and most of those houses and camps are on leased logging property, but this one actually said in the description from the realtor that it was owned. It's an awesome camp. That place was like a dream home to me, but gotta plan those things out for a while. So this place was an A-frame out in the woods. Didn't have a basement, but it had a pretty good area inside. It was about 1,600 square feet, which is a decent sized building. My house is only 700 something square feet. And this house out in the country, because it's in the Northwoods, doesn't have water, utilities. It has a drilled well, which is great. And it completely relies on generator power, which I think is awesome. Just go ahead, program a generator to turn on 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. Runs refrigeration, runs heating systems. I like that kind of setup. I love that building. It was cool. And it had a couple acres of land surrounded by millions of acres of logging forest, which is protected land. That was a really cool house, a really cool setup. And it was a regular house, it wasn't a camp. It was a permanent building on a slab foundation with a barn in the back. That's a perfect opportunity for an off-grid, and it was extremely cheap, and it showed a bunch of price drops because no one wants to live out in the middle of nowhere. All you gotta do is get a Starlink. Perfect opportunity for someone with an online job. But then you run into things. A place like that has very low taxes because it is considered not livable. It's an off-grid cabin. If you are not connected to water and power, you're off-grid. Doesn't matter if it's a full house, doesn't matter if it operates as a full house. It's running on a generator, it's considered off-grid, and the government sees it as a piece of property and doesn't recognize it as a house. So you save money there, cheap taxes on land, but then you have to drive multiple hours out of the wilderness if you want to go shopping. You gotta make every trip into town count. You gotta bring a lot of food back, fill up your pantry every single trip. It's gotta count. Also, to heat that place, to run those generators, you can only get a fuel truck in there certain times of the year. If you have a rainy summer, a fuel truck is not going to go down those muddy roads. It's too dangerous. In the winter time, they might not go down there. It's icy, too dangerous. Although in those areas, those drivers will chain up for you. They go out to those rural logging sites in the winter with chains. I don't think that would be a problem, but mud season, rainy summer, you can't get fuel out there. So better have a big fuel tank to run your heating system and generators. You're also probably going to pay an arm and a leg to get that truck to drive out there. Unless your neighbors are also getting fuel on the same trip. Maybe you could collaborate with them and have the truck deliver all at the same time. But that's a dream someday, to have an off-grid facility like that runs either on solar or diesel. Personally, I think that's kind of cool. I used to love going to a campsite where my grandfather had a friend. The campsite owner would run the generator 2 or 4 hours in the morning and at night, just for those reasons I said, to run heating, refrigeration and stuff. The owner's house had solar, so when it was off season without campers, he had 24-hour power. But that was towards the end. Towards the beginning, there was no solar field, so anytime there was something on TV the owner wanted to watch, you'd randomly have a couple hours extra of power. But that was a cool setup. Had a water tower on the property, so when the generator was running, the well would run non-stop, filling the water tower. So sometimes you'd even see it overflowing, which was cool to play underneath. And if the campground ran out of water, they would start the generator up just to run the wells. That was a very cool setup with those generators. But you can definitely have a small solar system just to run small things. But that property is cheap. There's been times that I've thought about setting my property off grid. Like, my town does allow off grid. There's people out there that have outhouses. They don't even have working water. Then there's other ones that have generator systems like that. And I don't know if they do it to avoid taxes or because they like having the off-grid lifestyle. They like being independent to a sense. I'm not sure which it is, but I don't know if my town would actually let me go off-grid with an existing building or not. I don't know. I really don't know. I think you'd get I think in my situation I'd get the property tax regardless of it as a house, since it has the potential to be hooked up and has existing hookups. I could definitely make the power company go away and disconnect, but I don't think that would solve anything else with taxes. I've seen taxes go up a lot in just the past 4 years I've lived up north. Property tax has gone up by over 1,000. Well, I'll end this video right now. Maybe I'll make some more vlogs along my way as we get down south. Maybe I'll make more vlogs on my way while I'm down there after I visit my grandpa and see if everything's alright. I'll hang out in Florida for a bit so I can keep visiting and be close by. Maybe we can find some interesting things to do in Florida this month. Traffic's going good. It's 5 o'clock, so rush hour is going to probably pick up now. Drive another 7 hours. traffic. A few areas so far very gridlocked. This should clear up soon. It's now 5:37. Going slow though on the highways. We're in New Haven, Connecticut now. Alright everyone, we've now entered New York. Traffic is getting a little better. It's now 6:30. And we're on a road now. The highway speed limit is kind of slow. We just had a bunch of bridges in Connecticut that were very low. I don't see any trucks on the road. No semis around. So I'm imagining they're still not allowed here maybe. Yeah, this bridge looks pretty short. Yep. There's a lot of bridges that are only 11, 12, 13 feet. Trucks can't be on this road. The lanes are also pretty tight compared to a regular highway. And mixed with all these curves, that's probably why the speed limit is a bit slower. Good amount of construction. But traffic is easing. Should just get better and better as the night goes on. I'm not tired. I'm gonna keep driving. This will probably be the most driving I've ever done in a couple-day period. From northern Ontario to Maine was about 10 hours. Then today I've probably been on the road, let me think, 6 hours, going on 7. Here comes a 10-foot bridge, very short one. Where is it? Here it is. Very short bridge. I'm guessing that most of the bridges around here are probably historic. That's why they don't change that. There's enough traffic as it is, I guess, without the trucks. They could probably dig it deeper. Maybe. Has anyone ever seen that YouTube channel, the 11'8" bridge, which they recently made into the 12'4" bridge? Still too short for trucks, but it's a YouTube channel of dozens of trucks smashing into a bridge. Stupid drivers that don't know how to read the height signs or don't know how tall they are. RVs, buses hit it, and they even have a giant sign that says, "When flashing, turn left." And people still smash into it because they don't read. But those are interesting videos to watch. It just destroys certain trucks, just tears them apart as they hit it. Now, they only raised it for an unrelated reason that the railroad had nothing to do with the trucks. They can't dig the road deeper because there's utilities, sewers underneath there. That would make it way too expensive to make it worth it.
In a quarter mile, keep left to continue on Cross County Parkway. Follow signs for George Washington Bridge, New Rochelle.
Since there's a, what was I going to say about that bridge? But in order to raise a railroad up, you have to grade that railroad for many miles. Because a train can't go up much of a slope.
Keep left to continue on Cross County Parkway.
Those are interesting.
Continue on Cross County Parkway for 3 miles.
Those are interesting videos. I don't know why the Google map has to tell me to continue on the road and not take that exit. Made it really easy. You just have to hit a button. You can just hit stalled vehicle. They made that super simple. Does anyone
In 2 miles, use the right lane to take exit 4S towards Central Park Avenue.
Does anyone ever see things on the road and they wonder,
in 2 miles, use the right lane.
You know, this thing's annoying. Way too many notifications. It doesn't need to keep telling me that. I can push another button, add limited notifications where it only tells me the crucial moves. Does anyone ever see things on the road and they wonder how people get away with it? Like, I remember years ago, a cop pulled over my mom when I was with her and was complaining about the bike rack, which was blocking the couple numbers of the license plate. Now, you're not supposed to block the license plates at all, but on a daily, I see dozens, or on trips like this, probably hundreds of cars in the summer with obstructed license plates, whether it's a hitch with a box, a wheelchair, bicycles. You see that stuff every day in such large numbers, and you wonder how people get away with that. People also have those illegal license plate covers, making it completely illegible. It's just blacked out. You also see tinted license plate covers. Any license plate cover is illegal, but you see those hundreds of times a day everywhere. I see more of them in Canada than I do in the US. And you wonder how it's legal, because people only have those for one reason. They're doing something wrong, such as getting out of tolls. The traffic cameras can't read them. The speeding cameras can't read them. Police cars can't read them. You wonder why those plates are, why people get away with that so easily. Like today I saw someone that had bright blue headlights. A little bit of traffic starting now. What city are we near? Are we next to New York?
In a quarter mile, use the right lane to take exit 4S
Is that
from
what it
Central
is?
Park Avenue.
Is that the exit? Not this one. I think it's going to be the next one. Oh, we're about to be in Jersey. I see the line coming up on the map. Yeah, we're right next to New York City. That's why traffic got slightly worse. But rush hour's over. It's not a big deal at all. Okay.
Continue for 3/4 of a mile.
We're going to be in New Jersey in a couple minutes, I think. Let me look at the map. Yeah, a little more than a few minutes. Maybe 20 minutes, actually. We can see the New York City skyline in the distance. I remember my first time driving to Pennsylvania. I stopped for gas in New Jersey, not knowing that it's one of two states where you're not allowed to pump your own gas. Back in the day, no one could pump their own gas, but those are the only states that still have it because they say it creates jobs. Well, ever since that time, I always make sure I have enough gas to just bypass it. Usually if I go to Pennsylvania now, I go through upstate New York and avoid all this traffic. But back then, I didn't know that. But anyways, I'll never forget when I filled up with gas, the guy came over with this little, what do you call the card reader, where you stick the card in. And it asked me, do you want a tip? 0, 15, or 20%? Are you kidding me for pumping my gas? I thought that was ridiculous. Who lives in New Jersey that actually tips these people every time they get gas? I'm not going to pay 20% on my gas. It's ridiculous. People feel entitled to a tip for pumping gas. I remember in Oregon, that's another one where you can't pump your own gas. I think it's only certain areas, or maybe it's just because I had out-of-state plates. I remember I pulled up to a place and I just got out and started pumping it because I didn't know the rule, and I just started pumping it myself. And the attendant who came up to me was like, "That's my job," and he was like, "Whatever, just let me finish." He didn't care. But I believe Oregon, it's only part of that state, or they're in the process of getting rid of that law. And we're still not in New Jersey yet. We still got a bit. We have 4 miles until we hit the Cross Bridge Road, it says, which goes over the line, the Hudson River. Alright, I'm trying really hard to not take the wrong exit. I think I'm going the right way. See any signs for New Jersey? Not this road. At least in the times I have been here next to New York City, the traffic has never been as bad as the time I got stuck in the Boston traffic. Boston, everyone owns cars. That's why the traffic's so bad. New York City, not a lot of people own cars, even though there's more people. So that's why the traffic isn't as bad when you come here.
To take the I-95 South ramp.
Traffic right now is not bad at all.
Continue on I-95
Rush hour's over.
South for half a mile.
You see how people just weave back and forth like that all around? People don't really use blinkers around here, it seems. But pretty soon, we should be out of the land of the Pac-Man drivers. People that don't use blinkers and like to just sit between lanes, eating the lines. City is beautiful at night, though, and there's not many people out on the roads.
Use the right 2 lanes to turn slightly right onto I-95 lower level south, US 1 lower level south. Signs for I-95 south, US 1 south.
Now
Use
we're
the right 2
in New
lanes to
Jersey,
turn slightly
right?
right onto I-95 lower level south, US 1 lower level south. Signs for I-95 south, US 1 south. Continue for 7 miles.
No, we're not in New Jersey yet. What did I just drive over? Harlem River. No, not yet. Look at us, we're going right underneath this building. I'm noticing sure are shiny around here. My area has already started applying road salt. We only got 1 day of snow, but they're not taking risks when it rains and it's only a couple degrees within that freezing point. Yep, my area already got salt on the roads. Today's today's the 11th, I believe, Veterans Day. I remember on Veterans Day, I used to always go to the Golden Corral with my dad because they give free buffet to veterans that day. There used to be a line out the door. We'd have to wait a couple hours because so many veterans would show up.
New Jersey.
That's nice at Golden Corral to do that. My area doesn't have Golden Corral, but I believe there's there is at least one in Massachusetts, but they seem to be everywhere in the South.
Welcome to New Jersey.
The car tells me exactly when I go over the line. Google tells me when I hit the edge of the river. Another hour to get out of the concrete jumbo, it looks like. the city still left to drive through. Traffic's not that bad. We're past rush hour. It's now 7:13. You can see lots of light pollution surrounded by city. I can see New York's famous skyline. I can make out the World Trade Center over to my left. Yeah, nothing on the map but city. You don't see any greenery, no forest, nothing like that. Looks like we just drove through a swamp. There was definitely some sewage treatment plants we drove by. The whole area smells like a butt crack. Alright, traffic now in New Jersey is going pretty fast. Can you see that car in front of me? You see that up there? His lights are off. I've brought this up in the past. For reasons like that, I think daytime running lights are dangerous. If your running lights are on, why are your tail lights not on? You see that? You only see the back of that car over there when the guy hits the brakes. They make running lights bright enough that you think your headlights are on, but they're not. We're gonna pass that vehicle in a minute and have a look at that. I see this all the time. I see it a lot in Canada too, where running lights are the law. Look at that over there. Just a dark vehicle. And the person probably thinks their headlights are on, but they're not. My vehicle has running lights, but they're certainly not bright enough for me to think that they're the headlights. I got really bright LED headlights, but the running lights are, I think, halogen or incandescent. They're very dim. They should probably make them all pretty dim, or have them wired on where your taillight should be on with it. Are on. See that? Look how bright it is. It looks like headlights, but it's not. Those are running lights. Alright, we're starting to see more green on the map. We're getting out of the dense city. It's now 7:33 at night. Temperature outside is 61. And I have 18 hours and 16 minutes remaining to Florida. I'm still not tired. I believe I'll probably be able to drive before getting tired until like midnight. Because I've been on a schedule where I've been waking up not the earliest. Sleeping in the car will change my schedule for the better, I believe. Usually wake up with the crack of dawn, and especially in the south, give it an hour. Once the sun comes up, it starts baking me like a greenhouse, which is actually a good thing because it wakes me up. It gets me on beneficial hours. Alright, traffic on the New Jersey Turnpike is going really good. Right now I'm driving 83 miles an hour, and I'm the slow one. Traffic is going amazingly. Everyone's driving like 20 over the limit. Alright everyone, we've been driving for a bit. We went through Alright everyone, check it out. We got another person driving without their lights. Look at that. Oh, now you can see him because he's hitting the brakes. Oh. Come on. Lights. You know what flashing means? This guy's not gonna get it. He don't know what he's doing wrong. He thinks his headlights are on. Did we get him? Did we get him to turn them on? Nope. He's not gonna do it. Well, we just went through a couple states because they were small ones. What was that last state we just went through? What's the skinny one? Delaware. Just went through Delaware. Now we're in Maryland. Is it Maryland? Yeah. Traffic's picking up again, getting bad again. Mr. No Light still next to me. Alright, this is cool. I've never been in this tunnel before. This is called the Harbor Tunnel in Baltimore. Never seen this before. This is awesome. Oh, cool. Being underground, Google Maps isn't even able to track me. The speed on the car and the speed on the map don't match at all. Interesting. Yeah, it says searching for GPS. It doesn't know where I am. I'm deep underneath the river. This is cool. Long tunnel. Only halfway through it. I think we're about to come out. We're almost to the edge of the river. Here we go.
GPS signal lost.
Alright, let's see if it updates. Because the map says I'm not even out of the tunnel yet. Yep, it jumped ahead. It was just going along on the map as if it knew where I was, as if I was going the same speed as everyone else using Google today, it seems. And you know, most people on the road are going a little faster than the speed limit, so it assumes you're going a little faster too. That was cool. Alright, looks like we got a toll. Which lane is the easy pass? I guess it doesn't have a fast option where you go through at highway speed. No cash. Just gotta slow it down. No green light either. I thought it was gonna be like a couple hours ago. I went through a easy pass where you have to slow down and it gives you a green light if it knows you read it, or it gives you a yellow light if it says your balance in your easy pass account is getting low. Didn't do either of those. Interesting. So it's good that, you know, across the country there's a whole bunch of different electronic toll transponders, but Easy Pass, which is from my area, will work anywhere in the country. It works a lot of places in Canada, but does not work in Quebec, which wants to be different, I guess. Like in Quebec, I honestly cannot read what some of the signs say, so the first couple times I went through ones in Quebec, I just went through the one that said, you know, you can tell by the symbol which one would be electronic tolls. Just went through that and it gave me a red light, even though I have a transponder. It doesn't work in Quebec, but it works perfectly in Ontario for some reason. So now we're going through Quebec. I gotta stop and do the cash option. Still see a lot of light pollution on my screen from the nearby cities. Wow, there's still tons of traffic here in Maryland, and it's 10:35. Never seen this type of traffic very late at night. That's why the traffic got so bad. We're in Washington, D.C. right now. I remember I went to Washington, D.C. at one point, and it was not pleasant driving on some of their tight city roads, which were designed for horses years ago. It wasn't very pleasant driving a car around. I found myself in a situation a couple of times where every time the light was green, you couldn't go out. There was gridlock. And every time it was red, you could go, but there was a no turn on red sign. Oh, we got another little tunnel. This is just a bridge. There's graffiti on a lot of the signs around here. At least the traffic's not nearly as bad as it would be in the day. Hey, look, you see that way up there? You can see the Washington Monument up there. That's what's right in front of us,
In 2
right?
miles, use the left lane to take the exit toward I-395 South.
Isn't that what's in front of me right there? Yeah. There's the Washington Monument. It's pretty cool. What I'm realizing right here in the Capitol is where I'm driving right now is the expressway. And I guess a lot of people that work in the Capitol, that very crowded place, don't live there. So this time of day, everyone's trying to leave the Capitol. So the expressway is in the direction getting out. But come morning time, notice how a lot of these signs are facing the wrong way. Like every time we drive underneath one of these signs that has all the green arrows, I look in my rear view mirror, it's got red X's, and that's because they reverse the whole road depending on which direction the traffic's going, and that's cool. So come morning time, this road will have traffic going in the opposite direction I'm traveling. Interesting. So the expressway seems to switch directions, and all the ramps that are going in the wrong direction have these breakaway gates like a railroad crossing. So those all lift up in the morning, and all the ones that are up right now go down. It's cool. Yeah, look at it over there on the side. You see all those gates? Those come down when people are going in the other direction to make sure they don't go and use that entrance ramp right there as an exit. Very interesting. They block off that entire merge lane so no one goes out that way. I keep driving underneath these signs with these prices for the tolls. Google sent me down here the expressway instead of the regular highway next to me. So I wonder if every sign I drive under, I wonder if this is adding up, or I get one price through the whole thing. I'm curious. Because I know I've driven through New York City before, and some of those bridges are $8 alone, or at least the entire highway to use it was $8, which is considerably more than the tolls up north. Up north, we don't have any of those expansive bridges they gotta maintain either. Yep, look over there on the left. See all those gates that are shut? In the morning, those will open up and allow people in the opposite direction to come onto here. Pretty interesting. And we lost a lane of traffic. There's a travel lane missing now because we're getting further away. Not as many people go out this far that work there. The only one on the expressway, which is really weird. Not a single person around. Maybe I should try to find my way back over to the other side. I don't want to find that my tolls being really jacked up from this. your instincts. If you're hungry, you got to stay alert to hunt something. And I feel like that works. I'm drinking a bit, but I'm not really eating anything right now. Plus, I could lose a little weight too. I don't know if anyone notices it because I'm tall, but I'm a little overweight. I'm starting to feel that, so I want to get rid of that. For my height, which is 6'1", I'm supposedly supposed to be around 180, but I'm 210 now, and I don't like it. So the next month, I'm going to try to do a lot of exercise and get rid of that. Take a look at this. Right here we have a tractor trailer with a loose connection. You see the indicating lights, or whatever you call that, on the top of the trailer? They're flickering. And the tail lights on the trailer flicker every time he goes over a bump. Got a loose connection going to this trailer here. The lights up top, if you can see that, are flickering. And the actual, oh, you saw that? It's flickering up. Yeah, I think he realizes his lights are out because he's pulling over. The brake lights seem to work. Yeah, he's realizing it. I wonder if someone else radioed to him, or if he was able to just see it flickering in his mirror. Probably, because they got lights on the side. Alright everyone, status update, 1:07 a.m. and we are about to hit North Carolina in the next couple of minutes. It took forever to get through Virginia, it seemed, especially after going through those small states. But I'm still not tired. I'll keep driving a couple more hours. Maybe we'll even hit South Carolina tonight. Almost there. We'll definitely hit Florida tomorrow. But Florida's a long state, and we're going down towards the bottom of it on the East Coast. Alright everyone, I miscalculated a little bit. It took a half hour, but here we are, North Carolina, finally.
Welcome to North Carolina.
Look at this, there's trucks all the way down the ramp here. There's not enough truck parking. We've been seeing that all night. The rest areas don't have enough parking spaces. And trucks sometimes are all the way down the highway into the breakdown lane. They need to build more parking lots for all the trucks around. Temperature's been staying solid all night because as I drive, we're getting further south and it's just lining up that way. The moon is nice and bright now. We're having patchy fog on the road. I drove through a town earlier that was pretty lit up. Trees all have leaves. When the sun went down, I was pretty far up north. And no leaves on the trees, but it's going to probably look like summer when the sun comes up wherever I am. I think the growing season is probably still on here. It feels a bit more humid down here. Seeing that all night through Virginia. Must have seen at least 8 just random cars in the breakdown lanes. A couple of them had a ticket stuck to them. What's up with people just abandoning their vehicles on the side of the highway here? Don't see that as often up north. I'm also not used to having any traffic on the road. Up north, you'll be on the road and you won't pass anyone at this hour. And it's not like we're near a city or anything. test of the auxiliary fuel tank I have on the truck, because this is the first time I've driven this far non-stop with this truck. I think in the woods I go out there for a few days at a time away from towns, and that's why I had a second gas tank put on the truck. But this is the first long distance test, and it's really working out. I filled up completely in Massachusetts, and here in North Carolina now we still have about half a tank. So I think we'll definitely get to Georgia, maybe even the top of Florida before we have to fill up again. So that's a good test of how far I can actually drive with that on highways, because I've really only tested it on back roads and off-road before, because I typically don't drive the highway like this. I'd rather take the back road as a photographer. That's how I find things. I'm still not tired. I think it's true when they say you don't eat a lot, it keeps you more alert drinking. But the engine now, it says on the dashboard, has been running 9 hours and 33 minutes. Be able to do that with a regular gas tank. Haven't stopped in over 9.5 hours. Alright, finally, there's no one around. I can turn the off-road light on. Yeah, there's leaves on the trees down here. I can tell they're losing leaves already. Still a pretty good amount. A lot of this is pine though. Yeah, most of this is pine. But the ones that aren't pine, I can see still have leaves. Yep, right there. Still got a bunch of light pollution. What's in front of us? Foggy now, look at that. Fog is coming out. Up to 61 degrees. It is exactly 2:30 in the morning. This area, the forest, looks really nice. In the areas where it's lit up, it's just dense pine trees mostly. I like looking at that. And we're surrounded by nothing but farms and truck stops. Stop within the next hour now. Sleep for a bit. It's getting foggier. parking for the trucks all down the edge of the highway. Alright, it's 3:45 in the morning and it is getting even more foggy. Not too much traffic. Give it another hour, we're going to start seeing the morning commute starting. It's turning into kind of like a mist. Alright everyone, right now we are in South Carolina and we're stopping at Walmart in 3 minutes. I wonder if there's going to be a lot of trucks at this Walmart since all the rest stops around here are overflowing into the highway. So, I've officially been on the road 12 hours and 4 minutes without stopping for any breaks. Haven't got out of the seat. A bit sore. Might go for a little walk before I sleep. I'm honestly not tired yet, but I feel like I should stop. Probably today I've been on the road about 16 hours if you total it all up. And 992 miles since I started today. So Walmart, 2 minutes away. Not that bad. Alright. I'm gonna stop here, fall asleep, see how long I'll even sleep for. Then we'll go in the store to get some breakfast in the morning. There's a bunch of campers, but no trucks here. Doesn't look like it would be a very good parking lot for trucks, I assume, the way they place these things everywhere in the middle. Bunch of campers though. So where am I going to park? Somewhere out far. I'm going to back into this one weird spot here on the end. And good night everyone. See you in the morning. What's that? House cat? Raccoon? I can't tell from all the way over here. Good morning everyone. I woke up about a half an hour ago at Walmart. For breakfast I bought cherry tomatoes and popcorn chicken. Just topped off with gas. Time to get back on the highway. There's already things down here like palm trees. And we have 600 miles to go today.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto
But that should be nothing because yesterday we did almost 1,000 miles. So today should be a lighter day. It's 9:30 in the morning and 10 more hours of driving.
Turn left onto the I-95 South ramp.
Alright everyone, the traffic has really picked up. It's now 11 a.m. and all the waterways, all these bridges seem to have a lot of water rushing through them. The rivers all seem extremely high. A lot of the drainage ditches I'm noticing are flooded. I wonder if that's still remnants from the hurricanes or if it's just been really rainy. This morning I also saw a bunch of cotton fields. I don't think I've ever seen that in real life. Look look over here on the left in the median, look at all these gigantic piles of mulch. They used to have a forest between the highways on the median, but they turned it into these piles of mulch. Just wondering why exactly they did that. They're doing that in my area too. They're cutting down all the forest on the median. Like, in my area, you never used to be able to see the oncoming traffic. There was thick forest. And here is what all these piles are. There was a good layer of trees there, and now it's just mulch. Alright, finally got to the end of where they stopped cutting the trees. Now there's a thin line. They definitely thinned it. It looks like it was thicker at some point. I'm wondering if they cut down all those trees because of these dumb laws where a tree can't be within a certain distance of the road in case someone goes off the road. That might be why. Because there's actual laws that they have now. A tree can't be within a certain distance of the road because you're supposed to have a certain amount of correction where you can go off the road without hitting something. That might be why they cut down a lot of that forest. You can see how the median is right now. That's how this whole highway was last time I drove it. Tree cover the entire median. I'm also seeing a lot of fire ants. You see all the hills on the edge of the road. Almost in Georgia. Alright, now this area is interesting. So there's a lot of water rushing underneath these bridges, and I can see erosion to the edge of the road, the pavement, the concrete, and I can see debris stuck around poles, guardrail poles, signs. This entire section of highway I can tell was underwater during the hurricanes. And I don't know if you can see off into the woods right there, but both sides of the road, the median is completely flooded. There's still a lot of water here. Lots of boats today driving by on the highway. Over here on the median, I can see debris all over the place in the tall grass. This area here looks like it had a 50-foot strip of trees at some point in the past year or two. I can already start to feel the really strong southern sun angle. The last time I was in Florida, I got a really bad sunburn in a matter of a couple hours in the middle of winter. Very strong down here. Already feels like summer at 75 degrees. Not even noon yet. Even hotter down there in Florida. Where I live up north, it's impossible to get a sunburn in the winter. At least for me. Even in the summer, I can be outside all day. I'll get a sunburn, but it's not really bad. I'll just turn red. But down in the south, it'll become itchy and peel. The sunburn can become so bad in just a couple of hours. Looks like this area is about to lose its leaves. They're way behind from where I live. So this area I think they call semi-tropical. There are things like palm trees around. Not many of them though. There's another big boat. Lots of logging forest around here. Very rural area at the moment. Compared to the highways up north, there's been a lot of wide loads, a lot of trailers going down the highway, like mobile homes, double wide barns and stuff. Lots of interesting things on the highway today. Alright everyone, it's afternoon on the 12th of November, and we have just reached Florida. Still have another nearly 6 hours to drive in Florida. It's a long state.
Welcome to Florida.
Welcome to Florida.
So, about an hour ago, my windshield got a chip in it from a rock getting flung up by another vehicle. It was only a little chip, I didn't think much of it. Now it has increased to about 6 or 7 inches. It's slowly spider webbing out. Next time I stop, I'm gonna have to tape that. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse, or I'm gonna have to fix it while I'm down here in Florida. Alright everyone, I got 3 more hours. I'll arrive in the hospital, I believe, at 7:30, and it is now 4:30 in the afternoon, and the sun's still up. Yesterday, I believe up in Connecticut when I started this video, it was getting dark. Here is at least another hour of daylight than up north, which is interesting. I already have an appointment down here in Florida for my insurance company to replace the windshield, which now has an 8-inch crack. It's slowly extending with the vibrations of driving, but it's fine. You can drive with a cracked windshield legally as long as it's not obstructing your view. But I'll have that replaced in 2 days down here in Florida. And something else I was just talking about in this video, how I like having that the auxiliary fuel tank. So basically that you at a push of a button will refill the other tank 2 more times, so you don't have to stop. It's mainly for off-road instead of carrying gasoline cans. Off-road, I've always been paranoid. When the truck's tank gets down to half, I hit the button, fill it back up to full. I don't let it get down to empty before hitting it, and I was very smart for doing so, and very lucky. Today the fuel pump broke, and if I did that out in the woods with an empty tank thinking I could refill it, I'd be in a little bit of trouble. There's a drain plug I could remove and hopefully pour the gas back in to the other tank, because when you fill up at the fuel station, it fills up the truck's tank first, then it overflows into the other tank. There's like a Y in the tube. It doesn't go evenly. It fills one, then the other. So I could easily pour it back in. It would be kind of a pain in the butt if I could get the cap off of the tank. But the biggest pain in the butt is having to bring the truck to my mechanic to get to that thing in the first place, since you have to drop down the whole tank, which is now extremely heavy because it's full, and it's a cheap fuel pump. It doesn't cost a lot of money. I'm going to ask my mechanic if he can put a more reliable one in there. Who knows, maybe there's something better. I don't like that thing died after only a year and a half of having it, when Toyota fuel pumps usually go forever. My other car has 376,000 miles, original fuel pump, basically original everything except windshield wiper pumps broke, and I think one of the wheel bearings went bad, but nothing serious, and that car is still running strong. But the sun's about to go down, and I'm going to end this vlog video here. I hope today's video was interesting, of some talking as I drive down south. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. A couple minutes down the road, what's going on here? They got a helicopter and dozens of police cars here. Dozens of police cars, police ATV. Look at them all. Alright, at this time it's 20 after 5 and traffic's picking up. It's now rush hour in Florida. This should clear up within an hour. talked to my mom, and my grandpa's condition has improved a good amount. He had surgery last week because he had a fall. I guess he was roller skating and he had a fall. So he's brought to a regular room now. He's out of the ICU. And my mom tells me he doesn't really like the hospital food. He's just been drinking whatever they're giving him. So I think before I go there, I should pick up some food that I think he'll like. So I was supposed to arrive at 7:03. It's now, an estimated arrival is at 7:35, which is 2 hours away, and it's the traffic. So that number it's giving me will likely improve since I'm driving still such a long distance. Like, for example, if you plug in a place that's really, really far away during rush hour, it's going to give you a number that's pretty big. You wait a couple hours or program the same destination at 1 a.m., it's going to be drastically different arrival times. So that doesn't really bother me. This traffic will likely clear up in an hour, so I'll probably arrive way before what it even says on the map. Alright, 19-minute slowdown. Not too terrible. Stop and go traffic. Looks like it's going to be for the next mile and 2/10. I thought it was going to get stuck. Look at this impatient charter internet truck driving across 2 medians. Traffic is completely gone. We hit the end of rush hour. It's now 6 o'clock. Alright, it's completely dark now. It's now 6:30, and I just asked Google about the difference in daylight hours in Florida. So it told me that there's only 2 hours difference from the shortest day of the year to the longest day of the year. My area, that drastically changes. There's certain days when it's still light at 9 p.m. and in the winter there's days it gets dark at 4. Quite the difference there. There's also days in the winter in my area where the sun doesn't come up until after 7, and then there's days it